Tonight at Tropicana Field, the Rays and the Toronto Blue Jays conclude their four-game series. The Rays winners last night after dropping the first two games of this series, so they're playing for a split with the Blue Jays tonight. And a special evening in store indeed. Last year's Cy Young Award winner while pitching for the New York Mets, now with Toronto, R.A. Dickey, and the Rays' own Cy Young Award winner from the American League, David Price, will square off. Hi again, everyone. Welcome to an evening of Rays baseball with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Good to have you looking in. Todd Callis along in just a moment. Well, only twice. This will be the third time since they awarded Cy Youngs in both leagues, which dates back to 1967. Have they squared off the following year, and tonight's going to be special.
It is, and you're talking about two starting pitchers that are going to go out there and try to get back to what they were doing last year when they dominated both leagues, starting with David Price. Dominant from start to finish. He was 20-5, 2.56 earned run average. That opponent's average, very good. I think the key for David tonight, go out there, attack with that fastball early in the ball game and establish it to both sides of the plate. Now, I think that the secondary pitches, the curveball, the changeup, I think they're going to play a very prominent role in tonight's game, but those pitches are much more effective when the fastball has already been established. And on the flip side, for the Toronto Blue Jays, R.A. Dickey, again, 34 games, 33 starts. He threw 233 and 2/3 innings, 20-6. Those numbers eerily similar to what David Price did. And for him, it's that knuckleball. The speed on it last year, he had a very hard knuckleball. And last year, he was also very good when he got into trouble. Just a 177 batting average against with runners in scoring position. This year, the knuckleball, not quite as hard. Runners in scoring position, not quite as good.
And for Coventry Healthcare of Florida, the pitching matchup, R.A. Dickey, he's 2-5 this year with a .536. And David Price, just 1-3, making his 8th start of the year tonight. David comes in with an earned run average of 5.24. Dickey against Price. That's the story. But, oh, by the way, the Rays now have the American League's leading hitter in the middle of their lineup, James Loney, their first baseman, and Todd Callis explores that when we return.
conclusion of this 4-game series between the Rays and the Jays, you are looking at the league-leading hitter in the American League. With those 5 plate appearances last night, James Loney qualified for the first time in a while for the AL batting title. And with the updated look, with Miguel Cabrera's game already over as the Tigers play the Washington Nationals in an afternoon contest, you'll see Cabrera had 2 hits today to raise his average to 382, but not good enough to pass James Loney at 385. The Rays have the AL batting leader right now on this 9th day of May. We asked Kelly Johnson about watching Loney and the success he's had as of late.
It's been pretty impressive. I mean, the guy's just getting hits, and it's every day. I mean, every day he's showing up and getting 2, 3, 4 hits. And who's Miguel Cabrera?
Nice job, Kelly.
Any good? I don't know.
That's pretty cool. You know, we're still going to give him days off against certain lefties, and I think that's going to work out well because it'll help him maintain this level of competency and also get him off his feet and keep him strong as the season's in progress. But bully for him, man. You know, bully for him. He's hitting the ball line to line. Really an aggressive swing. He's nice at driving in runs because he moves the ball normally, and it's been fun to watch. And then how about his defense?
Everything has been above average for James Loney. He's faced 3 lefties in a row against the Blue Jays, and now he'll see that guy, a knuckleballer, R.A. Dickey, David Price. We are ready for baseball in less than 3 minutes. Enjoy all the action with the reigning Cy Young Award winners right here on Sun Sports.
R.A. Dickey were the 2 best pitchers in baseball, each winning the Cy Young Award, but doing so with a polar opposite approach. Price dominated the American League with his blazing fastball. Meanwhile, R.A. Dickey's knuckleball darted and dived in all different directions, baffling National League hitters. Tonight, for the 3rd time in Major League history, 2 reigning Cy Young winners face off. Well, the clash of the Cy Young Award winners here at Tropicana Field tonight. The Rays and the Blue Jays concluding their 4-game series. David Price putting the finishing touches on his warm-up pitches. And here is the lineup he will face. The Blue Jays have Rajah Davis in left leading off. Melky Cabrera is the DH hitting second in front of Jose Bautista. Price has had issues with Bautista. Edwin Encarnacion hits cleanup. Mark DeRosa and Brett Laurie follow. Colby Rasmus hits 7th. Mycerius Sturris 8th. Henry Blanco will do the catching at bat night.
Now taking the mound tonight for the Tampa Bay Rays, left-hander David Price making his 8th start of the season and looking to improve on these numbers right here. Just 1-3 and 5.24 in the early going. Obviously a much better pitcher than those numbers would indicate.
And the first pitch of this game is a called strike. He starts him with a fastball. The first pitch presented by Pinch a Penny. Fastball in at 93. 0-2. Davis in here hitting .284 for the year. 79 against lefties as he fouls it off, holding the count at 2 strikes. John Gibbons, the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays, much expected of this Blue Jay team this year. They have gotten off to a struggling start. Second time around for Gibbons as the manager of the Blue Jays. And a cut and a miss. Fastball strikes out Davis.
Well, you like the approach right off the bat. David Price using both sides of the plate and finishing him off with the fastball in. I think this is a big start for David Price in the sense that's a chance for him to say enough is enough and serve notice not only to the Blue Jays but the rest of the league that, you know what, if you wanted to get me, you had your chance the first 7 starts. I'm going to go on a run.
Melky Cabrera. Pitch outside to Cabrera. Well, he comes in, Price, 1-3 with a 5.24, and that's after that scoring change. Knocked about a run every 9 innings off that ERA. 1-1. So 1-3 over 7 starts, and if you break those starts down, a couple starts where you'd say he had no chance to win. You could make an argument that he could have 4 or 5 wins by now. Longoria makes this play with a throw to the foul side of the bag, and Cabrera is out number 2.
Let's take a quick look at the Rays defense as it lines up behind David tonight. The outfield left to right, Johnson, Jennings, and Joyce. Across the infield, third to first, Longoria, Escobar, Zobrist, and Loney. Jose Molina will be behind the plate.
You know, even if you make that argument that Price could have 4 or 5 wins by now instead of being 1-3, he's still not happy with the way he's pitched, even in those games that his numbers were good enough with a little support to win.
Yeah.
He's not happy with the way he has been throwing the baseball.
No, and he's not been the same. It hasn't been the same David Price, even if those, like you said, the numbers were flipped and the wins were there. It still is not the same guy that we saw last year. And I think it's just a matter of time. And look at tonight already. The fastball 93 to 95. He's going after these guys already using both sides of the plate. I'm telling you, sometimes you just go through those struggles. You go through being unhappy with how you're throwing the baseball, and it comes to a point where you really just say, that's it. Yep. The results aren't there. The numbers aren't there. But I'm going out there tonight, and it's a brawl. It's going to be a brawl. And
a big test with this guy right here, Jose Bautista. 2 strikes to him. And a foul ball off his foot, and down he goes.
Well, he hammered that. He has such a violent swing. Right on the instep.
Well, he has been very tough on David Price. He's trying to walk it off, and you can see that appeared to be baseball on bone right there.
There's just no protection down there around the ankle. No meat, no fat. Takes a minute for that feeling to come back too. You feel like like your leg fell asleep.
So Bautista just about ready to resume this at bat after fouling that pitch off that front ankle.
I should say the good feeling. There's a lot of bad feeling in that angle right now.
Price tries the 0-2 again. 1 ball, 2 strikes. R.J. Davis struck out on a fastball at 94. Cabrera grounded out. Now 1-2 on Bautista. And he got it. Strike 3 call. 2 strikeouts in the inning. We'll go to the bottom of the first. No score. To face the Rays in the bottom of the first. Joe Maddon's lineup will have Desmond Jennings leading off. Kelly Johnson will hit second and Ben Zobrist third. Evan Longoria, James Loney leading the American League in hitting. Fifth in front of Matt Joyce. The DH is Luke Scott, Jose Molina, then Yunel Escobar.
Taking the mound tonight for the Toronto Blue Jays, right-hander R.A. Dickey. He of the knuckleball, making his 8th start of the season, 2-5 record, 5.36 ERA, and just like we said with David Price, looking to improve upon those numbers because we know that they're not indicative of the kind of pitcher that R.A. Dickey is.
Well, the Rays saw firsthand last year why he was the Cy Young Award winner in the National League when they faced him in a New York Mets uniform, and he limited them to just 1 hit. First pitch, a strike to Jennings.
Didn't walk anybody in that game, which is pretty amazing with the knuckleball, and struck out 12. He was dominant.
Fly ball right field. Bautista will go back near the track, headed to the corner, and he hauls it in. So Jennings out on a fly ball. That's the way the bottom of the first starts for the Rays.
Well, there's a good shot of that knuckleball coming in there, and that's what Rays hitters want to do. They want to see that thing upper thigh, belt, and a little above that. That's the one you want to swing at. That thing down in the zones continues to float down.
Johnson ripping one into the corner. One hopping off the top of the fence. Kelly's on his way to second, and he'll make it standing up. Not wasting any time, jumping on the first pitch. That's his 3rd double of the year.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about R.A. Dickey, getting to something else, establishing one pitch, and you don't want to see that put-away slider. He's got the knuckleball. Different variations, but still knuckleball. That ball up and moving towards Kelly. He pulls his hands in and just hammers it. And this is where R.A. Dickey has really struggled this year. Runners in scoring position. Last year, a 177 average. very good when he got into trouble. This year, almost 200 points higher at 375.
The pitch is wide to Ben Zobrist. Well, you look at his hits allowed to innings pitching ratio, they're good.
Yeah,
42
right.
innings, 38 hits. But they've been crucial hits, apparently.
That's exactly right. You look at what's causing, his average against last year, 226. This year it's 241, so barely any difference there. What you were saying per 9, but it's just been they've been big hits, and his walks are up. Last year he really did a nice job of not walking guys. Walks this year are up a walk and a half per 9, so a couple extra guys on base, scoring position, and that average goes through the roof. That's where the ERA and the runs come into play.
Zobrist bounced it away, taking the count to 2-2. Well, with Dickey having problems with runners in scoring position, the Rays as a team are hitting 295 with men in scoring position. The trend they would hope to continue tonight as Zobrist is out on strikes.
Now that's the nasty, if you want to say put away knuckleball, the one that's up in the zone. Watch this thing take off away from Ben. Just starts fluttering and then go, look at that, just gone. So difficult. And even that's a great shot, but it doesn't even do it justice until you try to catch one of those.
Now Evan Longoria takes it for a ball. R.A. Dickey's, he's 90 to 95% knuckleball of one variety or another. And he's been known for throwing it harder than what you anticipate the average knuckleball pitcher.
Let's take a quick look at the Blue Jay defense as it lines up behind Dickey in the outfield left to right. Davis, Rasmus, and Bautista across the infield third to first. Laurie is Torres, DeRosa, and Encarnacion. Henry Blanco, the ageless one, behind the plate.
It's too low, 2-1.
Dwayne, getting back to what you were saying, I mean, the knuckleball last year, he, mid to upper 70s, a ton of them over 80 miles an hour. That's an extremely hard knuckleball. You get that kind of movement at 82 miles an hour.
Well, the idea is to take the spin off the ball, and it's the harder you throw it, the more of a challenge that is.
You've got to be perfect mechanically as far as knuckleball goes. Look, see how he pushes that thing out there. And again, that just floats.
Well, that's a great shot, great camera work. Watch that thing float in there. 2-2, driven back into center field. Rasmus will watch it go over his head. Johnson scores. Longoria into second, and Evan puts the Rays on top 1-0. Longoria continues his hot hitting.
Now this knuckleball just stayed out over the plate. The last one was able to get over the bat of Evan. This one stays right just above the knees. 2 strikes. He's head down. Knocked the knuckle right out of that.
Well, Evans started the night in the top 10 in hitting, an average now 9th. Trying to get his 23rd run, and here is the American League's leading hitter, James Loney, starting the night at 385. Here are the Rays scoring in the first inning again. They continue to get off to quick starts. Good look by Loney. 1 ball, 1 strike. Loney with 9 career at bats against Dickey. He's 2 for 9. You see the Rays with 31 first inning runs, leading the major leagues in that department. Count square, 2-2. Over the last 20 games, the Rays have averaged more than 5.5. In fact, they've averaged 5.65 runs a game. And they lead the major leagues in runs scored in those 20 games since the 17th of April. The count is full to Loney.
A good take there by Loney, following that rule of see it low, let it go. Out of the hand, just follows and tracks it right down.
And he takes this one down, draws the walk.
And knuckleball or not, a guy that's as hot as James Loney, seeing the ball well, just like we talked about Evan Longoria. He followed those last two out of the zone and works the walk.
So 2 men on with a run home, 2 outs. And Matt Joyce, well, Matt has not started the last 3 games because they were left-handers. So here's a right-hander, and he gets to face the knuckleballer.
Thanks. Thanks, Coach.
And that's strike 1.
And you know what? Why don't you just play me out in right field, too, so I can pick daisies.
Matt with 1 hit in 7 at-bats off Dickey in his career, and that hit was a home run. Ground ball, that's going to go through the right side base hit. They're going to wave Longoria to the plate. Batista's throw up the line a bit. Blanco missed the tag, safe the call. The Blue Jays will argue it. Loney goes to third, and Joyce has an RBI single, and the Rays lead 2-0. But Tom Foley was sending Longoria the entire way, and John Gibbons argues the point with Tim Welke.
You figure runs are going to be at a premium in this game. If you get an opportunity, you go for it. Bautista's got a tremendous arm, but you've got to be aggressive. You've already got a run on the board, and a good throw here as far as velocity, but up the line a little bit. I think Henry Blanco was saying that he got the back leg of Longoria here. Let's take a look. Inconclusive.
So Joyce drives in the run. Well, that's the Rays' style of baseball, to force the opposition to make the play. So they were aggressive. Scott tried to check. That's a strike. See Longoria scoring the run.
Trying to get that back leg, and can't really tell. It was very close, but
one hopper backhanded by DeRosa, and the throw to first. Actually, I think that's his Stores over there out of the shift. So Scott grounds out into the shift. The Rays come up with 2 and lead 2-0. By the Tampa Bay Times. Amazing stories only in the 2013 Pulitzer Prize winning Tampa Bay Times. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Well, the Rays have taken an early lead. A couple of runs in the bottom of the first. David Price back to the hill. He'll face the middle of the order. Edwin Encarnacion, followed by Mark DeRosa, and then Brett Lawrie. First pitch, strike. Encarnacion with 10 home runs. He shares the home run lead in the American League now. Hit one in the first inning last night off Matt Moore, and now he's hit by that pitch.
It's okay. Nothing intentional there. David trying to establish both sides of the plate early in the ball game. He yanked that fastball in and clipped Encarnacion, but again, hey, it sends a message. I'm out there ready to go at you tonight.
Mark DeRosa. DeRosa hitting fifth. But outside, ball, no strikes. David 12-2 in his career against the Blue Jays. That covers 15 starts already in his career against this team. A 2.29 earned run average. DeRosa fouls that one out of play. This Toronto club winning the first two nights, and the Rays let leads get away, dropping the first night 8-7 and in the second game 6-4 before winning last night 10-4. That's a strike. Pitch away, and it's now 1-2. Ball, nice stop by Longoria, scrambles to his feet to throw out DeRosa. Fine play by Longoria, stretching out to keep that ball from going through the hole.
I'll tell you what, getting some help from your friends. Evan Longoria, that ball was destined for left field, and nice way to lay out, just knock it down, stay with it, and make the strong throw to get DeRosa. Nice play.
Encarnacion moves into second base on that play. He's there with one out, and Brett Lawrie in the batter's box. Ground ball headed up the middle. That's going to go through. Base hit to center. Encarnacion's going to score. First pitch fastball, and Lawrie singles right through the middle. It's 2-1.
Brett Lawrie, just good plate coverage right there. Stayed right on that pitch, had enough elevation where he was able to hit it hard enough to squeeze it up the middle, and driving in the Blue Jays' first run.
Well, a couple of things on Price, and you touched on it in regard to his approach here so far this year, and it's just evident that his velocity has been down a couple miles per hour from a year ago. Although he's come out tonight on a couple of pitches where we're encouraged that he's had the good velocity. We still haven't seen, and it's early, but we still haven't seen that 95, 96 before. But the other side of that, having that velocity being down a couple of ticks, is that the command of the fastball has been a little bit of an issue too. But now the ball gets away, and down to second base goes Laurie.
There you go. You couldn't have said it any better. That was a 95-mile-an-hour fastball going down in a way that he just threw to the backstop. You see the difference in velocities. And that fastball percentage at 55.9, where that number skews you a little bit is it's up, over 80% against lefties. Against right-handed hitters, he's throwing the fastball 45% of the time, and he's throwing it less than 40% of the time with 2 strikes against right-handed hitters. Remember we talked about Jay Happ. 70% fastballs to right-handed hitters as a lefty. David Price, who, just face it, he's been blessed with a better fastball velocity-wise, and he's got pretty good command with it too, and he's throwing it 45%. And
I think out of all of the numbers that we can dig up and have access to, that's the one that really surprises me the most.
It's the number one. Because, listen, he's a power pitcher. He's a power pitcher. It's what he has. I'm sorry, when you throw in the mid-90s, you're a power pitcher. That is your pitch. You establish it, you dominate with it, you let the other pitches play off of that. But the fastball leads the way. The fastball can't lead the way against right-handed hitters if you're throwing it less than half the time.
He's down to Rasmus 3-1.
Lefties, his breakout against lefties last year compared to this year is the same. He goes after them with the heater and the cutter and just, has a lot of success against them. But it's been the righties where the fastball percentage has gone way down and the off-speed pitches have come way up. Nothing really established there. And I think that's something that he's going to be working towards doing a better job of. And I think when he does that, you're going to see the results turn.
There's 3-2 with Rasmus now. Laurie at second base, moving up on the wild pitch. See another 3-2 delivery here made to Rasmus. The aftermath of the foul ball. The Rays got 2 in the first, and the Blue Jays back with a run here in the second inning. So, happy young man right down the right field side with that souvenir. There you go. Night just doesn't get much better than that. 3-2 again. And he threw that one right by. Little foul tip strikeout right back into Molina's mitt. That one in at 94.
Yeah, high heat. Got it up above the swing. Rides that fastball up. But you know what? Not out of the woods yet, because this is where David... This has been the one struggle. We talk about runners in scoring position with Dickey. With David, it's been 2 strikes or 2 outs. With 2 outs, teams are hitting .379 off of them, 6 of the 8 home runs. But runners in scoring position and 2 out, and teams are hitting .478 with an on-base percentage of .520.
It seems unbelievable.
Right.
To strike 7 games in, and he's going to close in on 50 innings. That number seems just unbelievable.
It does. It does. And it's just the inability to cleanly close out innings. It could be an anomaly. There's a lot of factors that could be in play, but right now, those are the numbers, those are the facts.
He's 1-1 with Asturias. It was fairly improbable that Asturias would decide the game as he did here the other night with a home run. Laurie second base, 2 outs. Ground ball shortstop. Escobar handles this, and that'll limit the damage to 1 run. They leave a man in scoring position, and the Rays lead 2-1. Canterfield tonight. And in this game tonight, all season long, Tires Plus donates $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports.
How about Joe feedbagging in between innings?
Hey, gotta keep his strength up.
He has butter all over his fingers from that popcorn.
Hey, just run hard to first, strike guys out, score some runs, and it's all good.
All good.
Yep. It's Jose Molina. First pitch, and there a strike from R.A. Dickey. Both Dickey and Price living in Nashville, Tennessee. They share the same agent, and both Cy Young Award winners last year. And Molina grounds out to second. DeRosa handles that little ground ball that got in on the handle of the bat.
I'll tell you what, that first inning, the Rays had some very good swings off the knuckleball of Dickey. A lot of pitches were up in that hitting zone. You know, there were a few that we saw that really fluttered and moved, openly moved from, you know, the far center field camera, but then there were a couple others that just kind of floated in there, and guys really put some good passes on them, hit some balls hard. Even Luke Scott, who made the last out of the inning, that ball was a rocket shot, just a better play out in the field.
Dickey's coming off an 8-1 loss against Seattle. In fact, Luke swung the bat pretty well since coming off the DL. He's been productive.
Really
even
has.
against left-handed pitching.
Yep. His swing, and he said when he went down, it's not going to take me long. Once I get on the fastball, I'll be good to go. And you kind of say, well, we'll see. It wasn't that long, and he's been all over it once he got back.
3 strikes. He's fired up now. Luke's leaking out that the Rays are going to have another one of those theme trips.
Oh, didn't know this.
It's camo. Well, Luke is all over that. That's all he has anyway.
If the team flies in camo to another city and no one sees them get off the plane, did they actually get there?
That's right. Ground ball is short. Laurie comes up throwing. 2 gone. Well, let's check some of the pitch speeds of R.A. Dickey, who's known for throwing the knuckleball harder than most, even into the 80s, and he has yet to hit that tonight.
Now look at that, 14, almost 15 knuckleballs a start that were 80-plus miles an hour. He has thrown 15 on the season this year. That's another thing that you come into the success. I'm telling you, knuckleball is tough enough, but when you can get it to move like that and then add 5 or 6 miles an hour to what you're seeing him throw tonight,
yep,
extremely difficult.
The other thing about him, too, and I guess we've known a few knuckleball pitchers through the years. Base hit up the middle, and Jennings is he throws it harder than most knuckleball pitchers, or has in the past. And he'll change his grip on that, on the ball, to make it wind up in different areas in regard to whether it's a right-handed hitter or left-handed hitter, which is pretty amazing to be able to do that with a knuckleball.
Yeah, we don't know how he does that. what finger goes to what seam, but there's a method to it. You know, we see that one that really takes off. I mean, it really, knuckleball here, all you're doing is getting those knuckles dug in somehow. You know, a different way, use different seams, and you're out throwing it like a typical pitch. You want to get that ball out there and then just kind of push it towards the plate, and that thing just kind of barely moves, floats in there. And the lack of spin creates that. You know, how many times have we seen the knuckling action on line drives? Especially right at center fielders, that ball knuckling like crazy. They're difficult to catch. Same principle. That ball gets pushed off and just in there, barely moving, and then it just starts dancing around. Tough enough to catch, even harder to hit.
Yep, and he says that he can, by gripping the ball on the side a little bit, he can sweep it away to righties, and to me, that's just amazing. A guy can do that.
Could be misinformation, Tim.
Could be.
Guess what else I can do?
Yeah.
Who's to say you can or can't? That ball's dancing all over the place. I used to play with guys that would, left-handed pitchers that would put out there, hey, listen, when I lift my leg up to go to home plate, I can make a split-second decision. I'm going over to first, so guys couldn't steal on him. And the very guys that said that they could do that, I'd watch guys run on them all day long. Couldn't do that. Say you can't.
Oh, moved to first. And Jennings is picked off, and that's one thing that Dickey can do. He had 5 last year, and that's his second pickoff this year. So Jennings caught off first. We're going to head into the third, 2-1 Rays.
Reigning Cy Young Award winners, but they work out together in the offseason around Nashville. And here's R.A. Dickey on the Rays left-hander.
He's obviously a friend and has been since I met him. We share the same agent, the same hometown, and so we're always together in some capacity, you know, in the off season. And when you face each other, it's tough because, you know, you want to throw a 1-0 shutout, you know, and let him give up the 1 run, but he. You know, neither of us are probably where we want to be at this point this year. I think he would say the same thing. But it's special, you know. I mean, anytime you have 2 reigning Cy Young Award winners facing each other, I know it's probably a pretty rare thing.
He would go on to say that if he was a GM of a team and he had to build a pitching staff, he would start with David Price, not just because of the pitcher, but what he is like off the field as well, guys.
All right. Well, you would have to agree with that, I think. Oh, popper there. The barrel end of the bat splintered away. Henry Blanco is out on the pop into shallow center, handled by Escobar. 1 up and 1 down in the third. Go back around to the top of the order. Rajah Davis. So they both have the Tennessee connection. Price and Dickey. Strike 1 on the bunt attempt, and Price out of Vanderbilt. Dickey, I mean, most of us probably know the story by now, out of the University of Tennessee, drafted by Texas in '96, and they, on examining his elbow, found that he had no ulnar collateral ligament in there. So he went from first round money, which back in those days was somewhere, I think, around $800,000 to $70,000 or $75,000 to sign, to just get a chance to pursue his dream of someday pitching in the big leagues. 2 strikes the count to Davis. Price got ahead of Davis and struck him out swinging on a fastball that hit 94 in the first inning. It's ahead of him a ball, 2 strikes in the third. He's reaching, and Longoria, oh, a high throw. Maloney tried to come down and put the tag on him, but that high throw allows Davis to reach, and that's going to be an error charged to Longoria.
Trying to rush that throw a little bit. You know, you've got Davis running. He's got some speed. That ball just kind of sailed and tailed. on Evan, and Davis able to sneak under Loney.
Yeah, he had him out in front on the changeup, and Loney could not get that tag down in time.
And being a right-handed hitter, when you're out in front, your momentum is already moving towards that first base line. So it's just contact, and you're already off and running. That's what made the play so tough, and Evan rushed the throw.
And Davis is very fast to begin with, which creates a sense of urgency in getting the ball over there. Davis can fly. Melky Cabrera from the right side. Close. Mike Everett appeared to be thinking about calling him out. He got in there. Rays have already lost a runner, picked off first. Jennings to end the second.
Team 6 for 8 off David Price in the stolen base category. Does have one pickoff.
Going to be out of play. Off speed, and Cabrera fouls it. Back in the dugout.
And if you weren't wondering, that's just tough.
Well, you should have been.
Should have been asking yourself that at home. Why does he keep throwing over there? Is he a stolen base threat? How do they fare against our David Price?
It's a natural progression.
And there it is. There's your answer.
More time to first. Rajah Davis 6 out of 7 in the running department. Popped up back of first. Loney digging hard for it. Going to be tough. He can't catch up to it. 2 strikes. Well, this doesn't happen very often. Reigning Cy Young Award winners square off against each other. And this is only the 3rd time. And how about those matchups and those names? Tom Glavine and Roger Clemens in '99, with Atlanta winning 6-2, and Frank Viola and Earl Hershiser. Interesting that Hershiser would be involved in that, because he's one of the reasons R.A. Dickey's throwing a knuckleball now. Pitch out, and Cabrera now with a 1-2 count. Davis still at first. First, only in 1967 were Cy Youngs awarded to the best pitcher in each league. So since that time forward, you had that possibility that they might match up one way or another, a transaction. And now interleague. Runner going, and a ground ball to second. Davis going to be safe there. Zobrist came up with it, thought about trying to race him to the bag, but good decision to go to first, and Davis is safely in at second.
Yeah, Davis had a full head of steam. Zobrist kind of inching towards the bag, able to put on the brakes, make the play, just couldn't quite get to Davis, but still takes the out. Decision by Ben, and here we are again, runner in scoring position with 2 out.
Yeah, and Jose Bautista, who has been, as we mentioned the first time around, a problem for David Price, and David throws him a strike. Starts him with the off speed. Got him looking on what appeared to be a little cutter in the first inning. So 1 strike now. Starting him to change up here. 9 out of 12 first pitch strikes for David.
I'll tell you one thing about the velocity on the cutter. That's up.
Yeah, that's been about 89 or so. It's 91 there, and it was the pitch they got him on first inning was 90.
That's exactly right. He's been throwing that pitch hard on the back door. Keeping it down. There's not a lot you can do with it.
Liner into left. That's going to be in there and go to the wall. Davis scores an 0-2 fastball, and Bautista ties the game.
Now, and again, with the 2 outs against David Price, the inability to cleanly close out innings. Runners in scoring position, almost at 500 in that situation, and Bautista just never off the fastball, and that ended up middle. They wanted that ball in, 0-2 count. You've got to really think in. You got to think either right on the black or in off the plate if you're going to come in there 0-2. That ball leaked middle, and Bautista hammered it.
Edwin Encarnacion. 1 ball, no strikes. Look out, foul ball. The bat goes beyond the third base coaching box as the pitch was fouled back.
Is that 2 nights in a row now? The last night, though, I think it made it into the stands. One hop into the stands. This one he kept in the field of play. Very Kelly Shoppach-esque.
Yeah, but no one really has ever done it as well as Kelly Shoppach.
No, more lift than carry from Kelly.
Yep.
His were monumental tosses.
And great consistency in that.
Was.
Fouled right back. Fastball, hey, at 95 there. Now 1-2.
Yeah, that's been a couple of those heaters at 95, and they've been, that game against Colorado, and maybe the gun was down a little bit. Who knows? We're just going off the readings we see, but he was at 90 to 93. He's already got 5 at 95 plus, and he's been no lower than really 93. Cutter at 91, 93 to 95 plus. That's awfully quick.
It evens the count. Encarnacion with the 10 home runs started the day tied the home run lead, but Reynolds hit number 11 this afternoon. Broken bat, popper short right. Zobrist can't get there. Run will score. Toronto takes the lead on the broken bat RBI single by Encarnacion.
Boy, that is frustrating. That will stick in your craw. You make a pitch here to Encarnacion, you shatter the bat. This ball gets in there right off the label. Look what he does to that bat. And then for that ball to fall in, Ben gives it every bit of effort that he can, just cannot get there. Bautista trots home. Boy, oh boy.
Well, the Rays jumped to a 2-0 lead. Now they trail 3-2. Mark DeRosa. Fastball wide. Ball and a strike. it into right. Matt Joyce. He's got it. That'll take care of Toronto. But the Blue Jays scored twice. They're both unearned, but they lead 3-2.
With a 3-2 lead. And I have a little public service announcement for you. Mother's Day is Sunday. You have 3 days. Don't panic. Bring her to the ballpark. The Rays are facing the Padres, and the first 10,000 women in, yeah, they get this sweet little flower pot I am holding right here. So don't waste money on flowers, chocolates. Bring her by, be one of the first 10,000 in, and you'll have this sweet little gift for Mom.
Well, Kelly's right about that. That's a great gift for Mom. Coming up Mother's Day, Kelly Johnson. Another Kelly fouls this one back, and we're underway here at the bottom of the third. Kelly Johnson doubled in the first. Scored on a double by Evan Longoria. Rays facing R.A. Dickey, scoring 2 in the first. 2-out base runner in the second, and Dickey picked him off. Zobrist next, and then Evan. Right off the end of the bat. That pickoff of Jennings in the second inning, there was a time when Dickey was with the Texas Rangers that there was an issue about his pickoff move. He had a habit of coming set and moving that left leg, the front leg a little bit, and then stopping it, and that became an issue. Pretty quick with his move to get Jennings. Take a look at that again from the right hand.
You know, just a little buckle of that front leg. And anytime you get a guy with a good pickoff move, whether it be a righty or lefty, they're going to be walking the line. And that's why you'll see even the guys that are with good pickoff moves will get banged for their fair share of balks.
Yep. Strikeout pitch to Kelly Johnson floating in there. Zobrist sends one to center. Rasmus has a go over his head. I'm not sure he saw the ball immediately off the bat. Zobrist going to head for 3, and he's in there. Some aggressive base running by Ben Zobrist right out of the box. He goes all the way to third as Rasmus just a slight hesitation at the outset.
I think he started to come in. You know, this is one of those balls hit right at you. But this had backspin on it. This ball just carried. And he did. He just kind of stood there, drifted in a step, and then by the time he picked it up, couldn't get there. Misplay that Zobrist turns into a triple.
Ben's first triple of the year. And here's Evan Longoria with the infield in. And a line drive, but caught by Laurie. Boy, you can't hit the ball any harder than that. And Laurie on a reaction play at third makes the catch. Well, he made contact with that one, and right off the bat, you thought that's a base hit.
You better have some quick reflexes. That's why they call it the hot corner. Those balls get turned on and get smoked. Now the infield in, and the play's made.
Well, all you can do is hit the ball hard. You can't hit it much harder than that. And now James Loney up here. Loney tries to put down a bunt and fouls it. Loney walked his first time against Dickey. 2-9 lifetime against him. Interesting that he tried to bunt.
Waiting for that. You know, his knuckleball has been in that, well, we saw the range, 72 to 78. You knew he has the ability to change speeds on that pitch, and that's exactly what he did there. 65, it just never got there. You can be effective on the high end with the knuckleball. You can also be effective on the low end.
Takes the count to 1-2. Zobrist with a 1-out triple. He's at third with 2 outs. And this one off the mid of Blanco. Down the line comes Zobrist, and the game is tied. Well, that's another element with the knuckleball, and the Rays get a break there to tie it.
This thing just took off.
So the Rays get a run on a wild pitch. Only slices this one out of play. Now they're going to overrule that wild pitch and call it a pass ball. Loney fouls it. It's always a difficult decision with the knuckleballer out there. Guy throws it straight and it's off your mid up there. That's an easy pass ball.
Yeah.
With the knuckleball doing what it does. Difficult. So the count is full. Let me track that one all the way in low.
He's been good. He's been good at that all night, tracking that ball low. He sees it out of the hand, gives it a good follow, and does not bite.
And he's after this one. Out on strikes. Rays get a run. We're tied 3-3 at the end of 3. fourth inning. Tonight's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. They're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. We welcome you all and salute you for your service. Brett Laurie leads off. First pitch is a strike from David Price. 3 runs, 3 hits for Toronto. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Rays. Laurie drove in a run with a base hit in the second. Fouled out of play. Laurie leading off the fourth. Overpowers him right there, strikes him out with a fastball. One away in the fourth. Let's check in with Todd Callis.
All right, well, you get the chance to see if you would rather go with an overpowering fastball or knuckleball in our AT&T Twitter poll question of the night. David Price, TB1, hashtag TB1. Which pitch is harder to hit, the overpowering fastball or hashtag TB2, the great knuckleball? Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays, guys.
All right. Thank you, Todd. Here's Rasmus, Colby Rasmus. 1 ball and no strikes.
I've faced both.
And over the long haul, people are going to take the fastball all day long.
Yeah. Well, they're both extraordinarily difficult, especially guys like, David Price just struck out Laurie on that fastball. Good velocity, elevated. The closer the ball is to your eyes, the bigger the ball looks. When it looks big, you feel like you can hammer it. But if it's got that overpowering velocity, you just can't get there. That's what makes that pitch so dangerous. And then the knuckleball, I mean, listen, it's hard enough to catch. You play catch with a guy that wants to throw you a couple knuckleballs. He doesn't even have to be a knuckleball pitcher. But they wear your shins out. I mean, you whiff them, they hit you in the shin. I mean, you got to protect yourself. They're difficult to catch, let alone to get up there with a bat, time it, and rake it.
You ever been camping in the middle of the night in a tent, there's a mosquito? You're trying to swat that mosquito. You wind up hitting yourself in the head about 5 times. That's trying to hit a knuckleball.
Yeah.
I mean, you're wailing away.
Yeah.
It's floating all over the place. 2-2.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just in your own bedroom. You slept with a window open and a mosquito flew in.
Either way.
Yeah.
Take a hack at a butterfly. Tell me what you think about
That's
that.
it, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's frustrating. And that's the frustrating thing about it is usually the fact that there's no velocity there. I mean, now R.A. Dickey last year with all those knuckleballs over 80 miles an hour, that's a different story. But when a ball's floating in at 75 and he can't power it by you, you get up there like, old-time softball, beer league softball, you're just going to hammer it, and you just can't get it.
That's what he wants you to do.
That's right.
Just wind up and swing. Ball 4, Rasmus draws a walk.
I've played on teams where the day that you're playing with a knuckleball pitcher, some of the guys won't even take BP. They'll go hit in the cage and do that, but there's no point going out there. And sometimes I've seen teams where superstar sluggers, they'd set them that day. So as not to screw up the timing and all of that, get him seeing something else.
In a slump for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Nice Harry Stewart at the plate with Rasmus at first and 1 out. Well, no strike, and then there's the attempt to catch that one. And we saw Blanco's in here. He's been pretty much the catcher for Dickey, and have a little trouble at the bottom of the third. You can't blame him.
No. I mean, listen, he's trying everything he can to get his glove on that ball. Been moving all over the place.
And they've tried all kinds of things with catcher's mitts, oversized mitts, those big mitts. I guess the more surface there is and it's soft enough, maybe it'll stick if you get it up there in time.
Gives you got a chance.
Yeah. This one is down. I think Paul Richards years ago designed a catcher's mitt that was one of the biggest in captivity. Trying to figure out how to curtail those or corral the knuckleball. Little looper up the right side. That's going to be fair. Joyce behind the bullpen mound. Rasmus goes to third. They'll hold it to a single. And that's going to set up first and third with one out.
Well, it's Turris. That's a changeup. And he just is able to just flip that ball right down the right field line. A little bit out in front. Just trying to make contact. And there's nobody there.
Here's Henry Blanco. Blanco, the veteran catcher. There's the strike. Gets ahead of him with the fastball. Blanco will be 42 at the end of August. Oop, a foul ball, and that catches Molina.
Boy, that got him pretty good, too. He's in some pain.
Molina down after that foul ball off the bat of Blanco, and boy, I'll tell you, it seems at least once or twice a night with Molina back there, he's really taking a beating. Ron Porterfield out there helping with him. Oh, it's right on that knee that already had been barking.
Inside. The inside of that knee. That's exactly right. That's where he was hit by that pitch. That open stance got hit in the back leg in the same area.
Yeah, he felt that right there.
Oh, man.
Porterfield touched that area, started to work on it. Yeah, there was some reaction.
Just like you worried the last time when he was hit by the pitch, all of the squatting, the up and down, and guys running and having to pop out of that stance and throw. Is that going to stiffen up on him as the game goes on, or they get him out of there now?
Well, yeah, that's going to stiffen up at some point.
That's right. That's the other thing. Yeah, how long can you keep it loose? Boy, a catcher in his knees.
And while Porterfield's taking care of Molina, I tell you, both the training staffs the other night with Happ here, they were absolutely great. And I thought our guys, Porterfield was out there, Parker, I mean, they were very good at.
They're just so thorough. I mean, I knew the kind of trainer that Ron Porterfield was when I signed late with the Rays to try to make a comeback as a non-roster invitee guy.
Yep.
I mean, who was I? That team was basically all the way there. And Ron Porterfield called me to go over my meds, what I was doing. And we were on the phone for well over an hour.
Yeah.
I'm like, if he's doing that for a non-roster invitee, this guy's about as thorough as you can get.
Yep. They are.
Turned out to be, that's exactly how it goes, that staff.
They're very good. There's great effort, a lot of long hours, but they're thorough. Molina stays in. Blanco chops it foul. It's Luis Rivera, the former infielder, who's coaching third down there, and he made a nice play. Team for him. Rasmus, the base runner, at third. Esteuras aboard at first. Esteuras, a swing and a miss. They're going to throw out the base runner, strike him out, throw him out. That'll take care of the Toronto Blue Jays. So with the banged up right knee and all, Molina throws out the base runner. Feels good now. 3-3 tie.
The science of hitting, so we asked him, how do you approach hitting, R.A. Dickey?
Just see ball and try and hit it. Good luck. You know, it's not an easy pitch to hit. It's just something that we're totally, that you're not used to. You don't know where the ball's going to go, whether it's going to stay up, whether it's going to drop. Some of them cut, some of them tail, and there's no indication of what they're going to do. When you see a breaking ball, the breaking ball pops up out of the hand. There's rotation that your eyes can pick up on the spin. Knuckleball, it's, the ball knuckles, and it's either going to do one of four things. So you just got to guess which quadrant it's going to go and, hope that you guess right.
So far, so good on the guessing for the Rays, guys. Back to you.
Well, they have 3 runs, 5 hits here off Dickey. Matt Joyce, who singled in a run in the first, leads it off. On the ground to Encarnacion, who makes the play at first base unassisted. And that will get Luke Scott to the plate. Luke grounded out to second his first time off the 38-year-old right-hander, R.A. Dickey. One. The story goes it was while he was with Texas and Oral Hershiser, who was the pitching coach there, and Mark Connor, who handled the bullpen. Dickey was coming back from injury. They said, you probably need to try something else. And the knuckleball became the topic of conversation. Charlie Huff was his original knuckleball mentor.
Not a bad mentor. Had a pretty good idea what he was doing with that pitch.
(3-1). full 3-2. Dickey went from that first-round pick that we referenced earlier in the evening in '96 out of the University of Tennessee, a first-round pick with high hopes, and then the discovery of the missing ligament in his elbow, and he became the guy who just wanted a chance to play, and he really kicked around for years in the minor leagues, up and down, some big league time, minor league time, perfecting the knuckleball. They also say that he tends to be a perfectionist, and boy, what a battle that must be to be a knuckleball pitcher with that perfectionist nature.
The most unpredictable pitch out there. Interesting combination.
Yeah, isn't
Probably
it?
Be very, very frustrating.
The interesting thing about that missing ligament, you know, he was a quarterback in high school. He played at Tennessee, and there were games when he threw 160 pitches in college, which is a whole other topic to discuss.
Yeah.
But all of that with supposedly that missing ligament.
And it was found out through a photo. The doctor didn't like the way that the arm looked in the photo, the way it was hanging down by his side. They did further examination, and oops.
Yep.
How about that? How about coming to an agreement where 800, 700,000, whatever it was, tons of money agreed upon, not signed yet,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden that thing dropping down to 70. But perseverance, part of Dickey's game also.
Well, at that point, he signed for 70 just to get a chance to pursue his dream. There's a strike to Molina. It's 1-2. Stairs, 2-2. Molina with a little reinforcement and protection around that right knee. There's a Lobatone at the ready. Ground ball back to the mound. Out at second. Wide Joe at first, and Molina is tagged out there to complete the double play. 1-6-3 to retire the side. We go to the fifth. 3-3 game. Rays and the Blue Jays. It's David Price and R.A. Dickey. Time for the Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stand. Both Price and Dickey. Price at 1-3 and Dickey at 2-5 with earned run averages over 5. But look at the company they're keeping. Cole Hamels with a 434, 1-4. Stephen Strasburg 1-4, but with a good ERA at 3.45, and Josh Beckett 0-4 with the Dodgers and an earned run mark of over 5. You figure, given enough time, those numbers will turn around. We'll see the earned run averages start to drop and more wins. And speaking of wins, the Cleveland Indians beat Oakland 9-2, and Scott Kazmir got his second win. He's 2-1. He pitched 6 innings and struck out 10 in that game.
D. Wayne, he's got 17 innings. He's got 21 strikeouts, 3 walks, and according to what I'm reading here, topped out on the radar gun in this afternoon's game at 96 miles an hour.
Wow, that was deep in the game too, right?
Well, on the 95th pitch of the game, he hit 95. 2 pitches later, he hit 96.
Wow. Little looper into center field. That's going to drop, and a base hit for Rajai Davis. 0-2 pitch and a little cutter, and Davis has a base hit.
Those are according to my sources.
Okay. Well, and I know that you confirm those by 2 or 3 sources.
Yeah, you can't blame David. How many is that tonight? 3 or 4? Broken bat, balls just flipped that are dropping in no man's land. That's tough. Make a pitch and get horrible contact, and them dropping in.
Runner goes. The pitch is a ball, and the throw not in time. Escobar took the peg, and Davis has his 7th stolen base of the year. 7 out of 8.
Now, didn't waste any time. First movement gone. Davis. He got a pretty good jump too. Here's the throw. Able to just get that left hand in.
He's on his way to third, and the throw is not in time. So steal of second and third by Rajai Davis.
Wow, back-to-back pitches. That's Ricky Henderson-ish. Boy, you hit a little loop flare into shallow center field, and 2 pitches later, it's a triple.
So into third with nobody out. Moving to the top side of the order, Melky Cabrera in there with a count of 1-1. Now snap throw down to third, and he dives back in. Davis more than catching the attention of Jose Molina. Cabrera is out on strikes. That's exactly what Price needed. He got the strikeout with a man at third. Strikeout number 6. Here's Jose Bautista. Bautista with a fly ball left center. Davis will tag and score, and with that it's a 4-3 ball game. So the speed of Rajai Davis leads to a run for Toronto on a fly ball to center for Bautista. It's a 4-3 ball game now. There's Edwin Encarnacion. Offs it into right center. Joyce calling it, making the catch, and that takes care of the Blue Jays, but they take the lead with a run in the 5th. It's 4-3. Bottom of the 5th. Kick off those Sunday shoes and catch Kenny Loggins take the stage after the Rays-Padres game during 80s night. That'll be this Saturday. Kenny Loggins will perform hits including Footloose, Danger Zone, and I'm All Right. For tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com. David Price squared off against R.A. Dickey. Yunel Escobar facing Dickey. Ball 1. Escobar grounded to third his first time. He'll be followed by Jennings and then Johnson. Rays got 2 in the first, 1 in the third. Blue Jays a run in the second, 2 unearned in the third, and another run in the fifth. 1-1 count. Eighth start of the year for R.A. Dickey. Came in with a .526 earned run average. Escobar has a full count now. He's started to go, tried to check.
That didn't look like a ball that was caught very well by Blanco. This ball looked up and in.
Yep. And he didn't go after it. It's a called strike. Ground ball short. Sturis. So that's the first out in the 5th. Back around to the top of the order in Desmond Jennings. Desmond singled in the second and was picked off first base to end that inning. Dickey, 20-game winner last year for the Mets, 20-6, the .273 earned run average. Another highlight of his stay with the Mets, they say, in 2010, Prince Harry was over to throw out the first pitch at Citi Field, and he had to work with him to his technique on throwing out the first pitch. Now the count is full. So the Prince wanted the cricket style, the stiff arm. So yeah. He said he also wanted to throw it from the front of the mound, and Dickey told him, no, you're going to have to go to the rubber and throw it because they won't let you back in New York if you don't do that.
No. Yeah, you don't throw out a first pitch in New York from anywhere but the rubber. Anywhere.
Yep.
And preferably with a bend in the elbow of some sort.
Yep.
You don't want to go stiff arm from the rubber.
So he helped him out there. I tell you, Joe Madden getting a little perturbed here in the 5th inning. He didn't like that call on Escobar, and he didn't like a couple of pitches ago here on Jennings.
I don't even think he liked that pitch. It was called a ball.
Yeah, you see Joe's not real happy. He's been ejected the last couple nights.
And this crew had to be in here for a 4-gamer.
Yeah.
Where Joe could go the last 3 sitting upstairs. This keeps out.
Ball, no strikes, the count to Kelly Johnson.
Joe's starting to get that little edge to him. He's getting a little chappy.
Yeah, well, he does lead the league in ejections this year with 3. And he really had some extended conversations with this particular group. Three balls, no strikes. It's 3-1 now. And the Rays battling, trying to get a split out of this series with the Blue Jays. As much as the matchup here is the highlight, Dickey and Price, the Rays need a win. They had a streak of 17 consecutive home series wins against the Blue Jays. Well, they're not going to win this series, but they do need to earn a split. Safely in. And again a move, and a balk has been called. A balk called this time on Dickey. And so he'll move into scoring position. Jennings will, and Dickey has a conversation with Mike Everett on the balk, and that's going to get John Gibbons out, the manager, to try to get involved in this. Well, it goes, and we'll take another look at that to see, but there was a time when a lot of people thought Dickey did balk, dating all the way back to, I think, 05.
Well, Dickey's saying, look, it's the same move from the last time, but just like the last move we talked about, it's going to be borderline, and even though you get those pickoffs and you keep guys close, you will get your fair share of balks. And that's what happened here.
So Everett states his position to Gibbons, and take a look. You know what they'd like is a step in that direction.
Well, I think it's the front leg. I think it's the collapsing of that front leg a little bit early. You think back to James Shields and his move. I mean, his feet barely move. That's what makes it so good. The feet are so quick, and the arm comes from up top, right from his ear with that accurate throw. I think it's that front leg collapse a split second too soon.
And now Johnson is out on strikes. Well, it was, and that's what we talked about earlier, too. When he was with Texas.
Watch that front knee. See, that front knee starts early. But I'll agree with Dickey on one thing. That is the same move from the last time. It's just that last time he got away with it. This time he didn't.
And when he was with Texas, he had a little rock in that front leg. This one off the mitt. Jennings is going to go to third. Ball one to Zobrist. So the Rays on a pass ball get the potential tying run at third. So a walk, a balk, and a pass ball, and Jennings is at third with 2 outs for Zobrist. But Dickey used to be a lot more evident with the little movement, a little rock in that leg once he came set, and that was the issue in Texas.
Well, listen, he had 5 pickoffs last year, 5 pickoffs the year before. You know, when you're a right-handed pitcher, it's one thing to control the running game. It's another when you're picking guys off consistently. When you get pickoffs like that, you are walking a fine line. You just are. That front leg's going to go just a touch, and you know, those two moves looked identical. One resulted in an out, one resulted in a runner in scoring position.
Now 3-1 to Zobrist. And he walked it. And will be at first and third with 2 outs. Just a reminder, as you enjoy a cold one, to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Evan Longoria doubled in a run and scored in the first, and then hit a shot down to the third baseman Laurie, who caught it in the third inning. Strike one. Wild pitch and a couple pass balls. Takes it too low. Now backing out of play. Go out there with his pitcher Dickey with a count 1-2 on Evan. And a reminder, tomorrow interleague play with the San Diego Padres in town. Alex Cobb will open that series for the Rays against Edinson Volquez. And we'll be with you at 6:30 on Sun Sports. Pitch too low. That's a little wide. Dickey set to walk off the mound on that one. And the count is full.
Just a little late flutter at the end. Took that ball off the plate. This was really close, though. Right there.
Three and 2 to Longoria. Pops it up foul. That will carry out a play, and he'll get another shot. Rays down by a run. With the 31st pitch of this inning, and it's popped up left side, and Laurie, the third baseman, makes the catch. Rays leave 2, do not score, and trail 4-3. winners, David Price and R.A. Dickey. Dickey's knuckleball fluttering about. The Rays managed to jump out in front against him in the first. Longoria's double and an RBI base hit by Matt Joyce gave them a 2-0 lead. But the Blue Jays came back with a run in the second. Double by Bautista in the third drove in a run, and Encarnacion dropping a base hit into right. Made it a 2-run inning. They added a run in the fifth. The Rays have another run in the third. They trail 4-3, the Rays do. Mark DeRosa leads off the sixth inning and serves a fastball right back into center field on the first pitch. And the leadoff hitter is aboard. Six hits for Toronto tonight. Blue Jays have had runners on base in every inning except the first. The leadoff man has reached in 3 of the last 5 innings. Ball the count to Brett Lawrie. Rays have had runners on in every inning. We've had some opportunities on both sides here. Lawrie off some pop fly to right. So that's out number 1 here in the 6th. Reminder, you can send your favorite Rays players to the Big Apple this summer to play in the All-Star game. Simply log on to RaysBaseball.com to fill out your ballot. Vote now and vote often. And that seems to be the method of choice.
Love that.
Voting often.
Right on top of the hat. A few hidden ballots.
Kobe Rasmus takes a strike. Those guys are the best. Rasmus down in the count. He struck out in the second inning. Walked in the fourth. One ball, 2 strikes. Price in the mid-80s now in pitch count. Pitch a little bit inside. Did he go? I guess he did. So Rasmus is out number 2.
That ball tight. Up and in on Colby. Let's see if he went.
Get that look on his face.
You look at it.
Tried to check, and he's out on strikes. That's 7 strikeouts for Price. Sturis takes a pitch up. One and one. Right side. Loney stalking this one. Base hit, the man left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. 4-3 Toronto. trailing by a run. Let's take a look at tonight's AT&T social media poll. This pitch is harder to hit. TB1, the overpowering fastball. Look at that one. Or TB2, the great knuckleball. Both on display tonight. R.A. Dickey's knuckleball. So tweet your vote to @SunSportsRays. And James Loney will lead off trying to make contact with that knuckleball and get something started for the Rays. Loney has walked and struck out. Pitch is outside. Loney started this game leading the American League in hitting at 385. 0 for 1 officially tonight against R.A. Dickey. It's up 3-0 now. Strike right now. Loney is at 381. There's 0 for 1 tonight. Miguel Cabrera finished the day at 382. And the Tiger lost to Washington. That was a 5-4 final. And Loney's aboard. He draws the walk on for the second time. That's 5 walks given up by R.A. Dickey. Walked 3 of the last 5 men he's faced. Well, let's see what Matt Joyce can do. Matt singled home a run in the first inning. He is 1 for 2. Ball 1.
You know, they've done a nice job of laying off the ball down in the zone. That's been the difference. Not chasing that pitch.
Cut right there.
Yeah, that's fine. That ball's up in that zone. You go ahead and take a rip.
Steve Delabar. Now there's a little change of approach.
Yeah, speed it up just a little bit.
Chopper foul. Twins have a 5-2 lead at Boston. They're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Joyce pops it up. It's Encarnacion, the first baseman, making the play. Shows the knuckleball. Gets the pop up.
Yeah, some of these knuckleballs that he's throwing up in the zone are just kind of flattening out. Guys are getting good swings at him. Other are just taking off to one side or the other. And then that one to Joyce almost seemed like it jumped on him. Like we talk about a fastball really jumping on a hitter's bat. That knuckleball just kind of had that same look at 77 miles an hour. But that's where, that's where the odds lie in success off a knuckleball. That ball from the thighs on up.
Well, let's see what Luke Scott can do with one. It's too high. Ball, no strikes to Luke. Pops it up left side, foul ball. Blanco after it, and he had it and lost it right up against the railing. And it popped right out of his glove.
Well, make that pay. That was what should have been an out. Blanco hustling over to the wall, did everything he could to get there. His ball got on him quick as he looks right there.
there from Dickie V.
Yelling at somebody on the phone.
He's on the phone, of course. This time it's going to be fair. Laurie makes the catch. So 2 outs. Loney, who walked, is still at first. And Jose Molina. A couple of ground ball outs, including a double play in the 4th. Well, let's see if Molina can get hold of one. Supply a little of his own power. Takes it for a strike. Braves scored 2 in the 1st. They got another run in the 3rd. 3 runs, 5 hits. Need a big cut right there. But he's down now, 0-2. Tip strikeout into the middle. Blanco retires the side. We head into inning number 7, 4-3 Blue Jays. Your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. And by Checkers, feast on. At Tropicana Field tonight, the Rays and the Blue Jays concluding their 4-game series. San Diego Padres will come in to open a weekend series tomorrow night.
What would you call that?
A night out at the ballpark. What would you call it?
A misdemeanor. Second degree.
Here's Henry Blanco on a line drive base hit off a first pitch fastball. Blanco ready for the fastball and strokes it right back into center. Leadoff man on base again. Third inning in a row that the Blue Jays have put the leadoff man aboard.
You know, we talked about David's struggles with 2 outs, runners in scoring position, or just 2 outs in general. How about this?
The bunt by Davis foul.
coming into this ball game, leading off an inning, teams were hitting 356 with a 383 on base percentage. So when you start to paint the picture, you got guys getting on at a pretty high clip to lead off the inning. And then with 2 outs, and if they're able to get into scoring position, then you can see some of the struggles there. Can't close out the inning, had a leadoff man on, they're able to put something together. 6 of his 8 home runs given up have come in with 2 outs.
The difference in the game right now was Davis, who led off the 5th with a base hit, utilized his speed to get into scoring position. Came home on the fly ball.
On back-to-back pitches.
And reaching on the changeup.
Maybe the best one of the night. That one he kept down with good finish, and the swing by Davis tells the whole story.
Foul back. He tried to cut her and he fouled it away. Price, a little over 90 pitches, working in the 7th. Shot foul. Well, the Rays scored first. They had 2 in the first inning, grabbed the lead again. Rays have got 18 games this year, and in 13 of those, they've given up the lead. Trying to avoid extending that one more notch down that road.
Well, it's going to be twofold. The offense has to get geared, at least put another 1 or 2 on the board, at least 2. David and whoever else is going to come in after him has to hold this Blue Jay lineup now.
Line drive caught by Longoria. Quick look to first. No play there. Davis lines it down to third, and Longoria got the glove up there, and enough of the glove to hold on to it.
Thank goodness for Evan Longoria. You know, David Price, the last 4 or 5 pitches, stayed away from the fastball. And changeup, cutter, changeup. That one got hammered, but the third baseman just made a nice play.
Cabrera, 1 strike. Cabrera 0 for 3. Jays have action in their bullpen again. Delavar is up. Throwing in the bottom of the 6th, now up again here in the 7th. Pitch close to Cabrera. He's waiting for the impact.
Yeah, I don't know how that missed that front arm. That was a hard fastball up. Just got that elbow out of the way.
Chop, shortstop. Escobar out at second. No play at first. Cabrera reaches on the fielder's choice. 2 outs with a man on. Tonight's broadcast is on AFN, the American Forces Network, broadcasting to the U.S. Armed Forces, serving in 175 countries and aboard ships at sea. You're watching around the world in Iraq, Germany, Italy, Southwest Asia, South Korea, and Japan. Welcome you to our telecast tonight. Thank you for your service. Jose Bautista. I don't know the count. It's Brandon Gomes just getting up in the Rays bullpen. 100 pitches for Price now. Chop back to third. Going to be fair. Longoria down to second. They get the force to retire the side. Man left. 7th inning stretch time. 4-3 Toronto. R.A. Dickey and David Price hooking up tonight. It's a 1-run game, 4-3 Price, 7 innings, allowing 4 runs, 2 earned with 7 strikeouts and a walk. R.A. Dickey has pitched 6. He's going to depart. 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned. He struck out 5 and walked 5. So the Rays come in to hit in the bottom of the 7th inning, facing Steve Delamar, hard-throwing right-hander, who pitched 2 innings here on Tuesday.
Well, he's got good stuff, as you evidenced by the 24 strikeouts and 20 innings of work on for the 17th time, and that opponent's average at 191. Pretty toasty.
Yadiel Escobar in the batter's box. And that first pitch is 94, so right away a little different look from what they've seen all night.
Yes. Get that one fastball out of the way and then go to hitting.
And a fastball again, fouled back this time. That one at 95. Difference in the game at the moment, the run scored in the 5th inning. Rajay Davis singled and then stole second and third, scored on a fly ball. Three balls and a strike.
Leadoff base runner would be huge for the Rays. Put pressure on this Toronto bullpen. Delamar in particular, trying to get that 1 run, at least tie this thing up.
Escobar sends one deep to center with carry. Rasmus looking up, gone. Tie ball game. Yadiel Escobar on a 3-1 pitch ties this game at 4.
Now that's got to feel great against your former team. 1-run ball game, hitters count. Didn't miss it.
Well, the hard-throwing right-hander comes in, and Escobar takes him deep out to center. His third home run of the year. And Jennings misses a slider. Desmond thinking fastball himself after seeing what Escobar saw and did.
And Desmond will do that. He will, first pitch of the game, try to ambush.
Bounce the fastball back, got it there, and is down 0-2. One ball, 2 strikes. That evens the count, 2-2. R.A. Dickey out of this game so far as a decision is concerned now. Ground ball handled by DeRosa at second. Jennings is the first out. Let's see what the Rays can do here with the remainder of the 7th inning. Rays have managed to put the leadoff man on base only twice tonight, but Loney walked in the 6th, and the leadoff home run from Escobar in the 7th. Kelly Johnson, who doubled and scored in the 1st, is 1 for 3. Yeah, Johnson's had a nice run here over the last couple of weeks, and you know, it was about 3 weeks ago or so that Derek Shelton spent some time with him, and you don't necessarily want to get those hands too low, but he lowered his hands a little bit, thinking that got him into the swing a little quicker.
He has that slight uppercut swing, and when you have the hands high, they got to go a long way to get down into the hitting zone and then up and out of there. So you lower the hands, and the swing's able to get started a little bit quicker. And Kelly Johnson has shown that. He's been pretty productive over the last few weeks after getting off to that slow start, turning things around, building confidence. And we've said that about a number of these Rays hitters, and that's why you see the offense doing what it's doing.
Strike 3 call right there. 2-2 slider. So that's out number 2. Join the team with Rays seats and tickets. Choose from a variety of plans and get the best seats, biggest savings, and exclusive benefits throughout the year. Reserve your seats tonight by calling 888-FAN-RAYS or visiting RaysBaseball.com. Veteran left-hander Aaron Oliver up. Zobrist takes that pitch around the ankles. Ball, no strikes. Rays bullpen busy. That's Joel Peralta. 2-0. Well, that's a strike to Zobrist off the corner. Now it's 1-1. Headed for DeRosa. So the Rays get a run. It comes on the leadoff home run by Yunel Escobar. We've gone through 7, and the Rays and the Blue Jays are tied at 4. Rays getting a blast from Yunel Escobar in the bottom of the 7th to knot this game at 4. On to the 8th we go. David Price still out there on the hill. Jose Lobaton takes over behind the plate. Encarnacion. 1 ball, no strikes to Edwin Encarnacion, the first baseman. 2 balls, no strikes. Price throws a strike. Price started this inning having made 102 pitches. Goes up to 105 right now. He made 113 in the start he made against the White Sox in Chicago 2 starts ago. He's promptly behind Encarnacion, 3-1. On deck. Big cut there. He let it out. Fastball challenged him.
Yes, it was.
Encarnacion took a big rip.
But you knew he would. And David Price does not want to allow the Blue Jays another runner on base to lead off an inning. He comes with the 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Encarnacion, big swing all the way across the plate.
So a 3-2 count. Fastball again, fouled away.
You can see here David just emptying the tank. He understands that the team fought back. They've had the lead a couple of times, 2-0. Then they fell down 3-2, tied it up 3-3. Toronto takes the lead 4-3. They fought back now and tied it up again. And David trying to put a stop to Toronto and give his team offense the opportunity to take the lead themselves.
And a pop-up foul straight back. That's going to carry out a play. Encarnacion was hit by a pitch and scored the first run for the Blue Jays. Then he drove in a run with a base hit when Price broke his bat. Up the base hit into right. And fly ball to right. The 5th. Now 3-2. For the 3rd time. Here is the 3-2 pitch. And a high fly ball hit deep into left center field. Jennings back to the track, and he's got room to make the catch. Well, Encarnacion gave it a bit of a ride on that fastball. But a couple steps left on the track for Jennings.
Yeah, that ball didn't have the jump off the bat of Encarnacion that we see when we know that he gets one. It was well struck, just didn't have that jump off the bat. Just missed the barrel.
Mark DeRosa. First pitch, and he takes that one for a strike. Cutter. One and one. The Rays do have Peralta down in the bullpen. Price has retired the first hitter here in the 8th. Out in front of the changeup.
David Price picking up the pace here too. Quick rhythm, good changeup there. Puts him in a 1-2 count. Joe Madden out here, 113 pitches, saying like, you know what, big boy, this is your game. Go out there and show me something.
The Rays coming home ran into problems, a little short-handed. A couple days with position players, and the bullpen had been very busy. Price pitching into the 8th inning tonight. Ooh, very close. started that cutter outside and hoped to find the corner.
Didn't quite cut enough.
The count to DeRosa, now even. And he got him. Changed up on him. A couple of those in that sequence. And DeRosa's out on strikes.
Circle change.
Two outs with the bases empty following the strikeout on the changeup. Brett Laurie is the hitter. And the fastball away from him off the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. 119, the high pitch count for David Price this year. He's at 116 right now. Into right center field. Joyce on the run is there to make the catch. Threw him a fastball, and Laurie hit it to right. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 4-4 tie.
After a series like this, the clubhouse tonight is guaranteed to be an interesting one, so stick around with us for the post-game show brought to you by Checkers. BA and Dwayne will break down Cy Young squared matchup. I'll have post-game interviews from the clubhouse, including Madden, one of the most colorful managers in baseball, and of course Todd and Orestes will be hosting.
All right, Kelly, we'll look forward to that as Evan Longoria leads off the bottom of the 8th. First pitch is a strike. Evan doubled home a run back in the first and hit a hot shot line drive to third in the third, caught by Laurie. 1-1 to count. Ground ball up the middle. Base hit to center to open the bottom of the 8th. So a runner aboard. And we'll check in with Todd Callis.
All right, Dwayne, quickly, just an update on Jose Molina. As you might expect, bruised right knee day to day. Back to you.
All right, well, it was just a matter of time before that thing stiffened up on him. And so Lobaton taking over in the top half of this inning. Rays with a base runner and a Metro PCS call to the bullpen coming. finish it, brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Pitching change for the Toronto Blue Jays. The 42-year-old left-hander Darren Oliver in the game. So we have Blanco, who's 41, doing the catching, and Oliver, 42, on the hill.
A lot of experience.
Stewart is now at second. Kawasaki in the game at shortstop. James Loney bunts foul, trying to get Longoria up to second.
The Rays going to try to do whatever they can to get this run.
Evan with the leadoff single, giving the Rays a shot here to take the lead at the bottom of the 8th, if they can bring him around. Loney bunting again. Oliver looks to second, but he'll go to first with the throw. Encarnacion back to take the peg.
And you know, you don't see Joe Madden do that very often. The straight sacrifice bunt, if it was indeed put on, and you expect that it was. This is not in the Rays playbook very often. Sack bunt, but it was effective. Runner on second now with one out. James Loney, and James Loney has been swinging a nice bat. We've talked about that, but he's been hitting lefties at a pretty high clip.
Absolutely.
And Darren Oliver's not going to be the guy that's going to blow you away. He's 4 strikeouts in 13 innings. But runner in scoring position, one out. Looks like Ryan Roberts coming to the plate.
Yeah, Roberts will pinch hit before they pitch to him. Pete Walker's out there to talk with Darren Oliver in the infield. The Rays have Longoria in scoring position. Roberts has faced Oliver before. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout against him. Roberts 382 on the year against lefties. Pitch upstairs. Fernando Rodney down at the Rays bullpen now. Rays with a couple shots to take the lead in the bottom of the 8th.
Ryan Roberts, big swing. No real 2-strike approach.
And that's a strike called. 1-1.
Well-placed fastball there by Oliver.
Outside, 2 balls and a strike. Roberts 3 out of 8 in the series. Takes the curveball. 3-1.
That didn't look like that bad of a pitch. I don't think Blanco did him any favors. The receiving of that pitch. Okay, the count Roberts' favor. Anything close, you know that he's going to be swinging hard. Likes that ball middle of the plate, close to him.
And a strike at the knees. Came back with a curveball. 3-1.
Looked like it was the same pitch. I mean, the same pitch. And it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, the one before was good, but Blanco didn't actually receive it very well. That one he did a better job of. That was the same sticking pitch.
Three balls, 2 strikes, and a shot foul down toward the Toronto bullpen.
I got a water cooler down there. Quick work.
Sean Rodriguez on deck. He'll hit for Scott next. this time, and that's going to be foul. It's beyond the Rays bullpen and up into the stands. Rays tied the game in the 7th on the Escobar home run. His 3rd of the year. Roberts has a battle going with the veteran left-hander. And a fly ball lifted into left. Davis, to his right, is there to make the catch. We're out number 2. So Oliver stayed with the breaking stuff.
He did, and he took a little bit off. He got Roberts out in front and lost all of his power at that point.
Well, now Luke Scott will come out to hit for himself. I recall Sean Rodriguez, and it will be Scott here, who's been swinging a good bat. And Luke is 2 for 6 lifetime against Oliver. The pitch is outside. 1 ball, no strikes. Lefty's actually hitting .423 off Oliver, and there's a base hit into right field. Longoria's headed to the plate. The throw is going to be in time. They throw out Longoria at the plate. Blanco hangs on to the throw. So Luke Scott comes through with a base hit, and Longoria trying to score the go-ahead run is cut down by Bautista. We're still tied. Get Longoria as the Rays trying to take the lead in the bottom of the 8th.
Bautista's got a good throwing arm. One hot, nice scoop there actually by Blanco, and then got to get over to the other side of the plate to make the tag. Gets Evan right on the ankle.
So we'll go into the 9th inning with this game tied 4-4. And Fernando Rodney takes over on the hill. 8 innings for Price, and now Rodney.
It's been the big difference for Fernando Rodney. Not quite the same command here in the early going part of this season as we saw last year. Last year, just 15 walks on the season. This year, 9 already and 10 2/3.
Ron Roberts will stay in the game to play second base, and Ben Zobrist Moves from second to right field. Joyce lifted for the pinch hitter. So it'll be Fernando Rodney against Colby Rasmus to open the ninth. The changeup has Rasmus out in front, strike one.
Fernando guessed right. Rasmus sitting dead red heater.
Couple of hits for Rasmus off the Rays right-hander. Two from 84 to 97.
That we've seen Fernando come in and he's 93, 94. Now, if he gets in trouble, all of a sudden that fastball will jump out. Well, he is bringing the A game tonight. 97, 98. First two heaters that Rasmus sees.
And he strikes him out for the change. Well, that sequence, a familiar scene from a year ago.
And there's just so much room to cover between 98 and 84. You got to respect that fastball, high velocity, and then you see that mid-80s. Can't blame the guy.
Meister Sturis, the second baseman. Takes a pitch away.
He delivers that changeup exactly like the fastball. Same spin, same arm speed. The huge differential. Bigger than you're going to see with most guys.
Strike. 1-1. Always have to have that fastball in mind.
No one wants to get beat with the heater. Nobody likes to get beat with the fastball, so you've got to be geared up for that 97, 98, 96.
At the second base, Roberts has it. So 2 up and 2 down in the ninth inning. That's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Preview the San Diego Padres as Alex Cobb goes for his 5th win, and we'll have VA's breakdown. Interleague play tomorrow night. Well, Henry Blanco's due. J.P. Arancibia will pinch hit against him. The pitch is a strike. Arancibia hit that big home run in the ninth inning Monday. Eventually gave the Blue Jays an 8-7 win, handing Fernando Rodney the loss. And that pitch in on him, and it hits him on the hand. Tim Welke making the call, and Arancibia trying to shake it out of that right hand.
That ball running up and in. You can hear it too. So if it got that hand, that's going to smart. Take a look. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Ouch.
Yeah, he hit that hand square. It's about the same spot on the left hand that got Eskimo. Cost him a couple days. Well, that's his throwing hand too, don't forget.
Yeah.
He just pinch hit for Blanco. Here's Davis. Davis lifts one into left. That's going to fall in front of Kelly Johnson for a base hit. Davis singles off a changeup. He's on for the 3rd time.
How many broken bat hits tonight for the Blue Jays? Broken bat, bloops, flares.
Well, Encarnacion had a big one in the 3rd inning.
Here it is.
Run.
Yeah, a changeup out in front, but it was elevated enough that Davis, right off the end of the bat, drops it into left field. Yeah, that's at least 5.
Aaron Seavey is now at second base with Davis on first. 2 outs. Melky Cabrera backs away from the pitch inside. 1-0. Change up. Ball 1 strike. First 2 men retired. Then Aaron Seavey hit by the pitch. Davis with a change up, drops a base hit into left. 1-1 to count to Cabrera. Bounces the other way, out of play. That hit 100. So he can be excused for being a little late fouling it down the left side.
I mean, this is by far and away Fernando's most explosive fastball of the year. And he typically brings a good one, but this one is as good as we've seen, triple digits.
One-two. Going in. 99 on that one. Balls, 2 strikes the count, 2 men on, 2 men out. We're in the 9th, tied 4-4. The tapper foul up the right side. The changeup, so he went from 99 to 85 from 1 pitch to the next. Got a run in the 7th to tie it, and a man thrown out at the plate in the 8th. We're in the 9th. And a foul right back. That was a fastball at 98, and Cabrera trying to hurry up that swing.
Hanging on for dear life. I mean, such an uncomfortable at-bat. That's the thing. 2 pitches, but so uncomfortable. That fastball is so electric, and the changeup is sold so well.
And he got it. 100. Strikes him out. Hitting 100 miles per hour to retire the side. They lead 2. We go to the bottom of the 9th tied, and that's what 100 miles an hour looks like. and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and description of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. 4-4 ties. We go to the bottom of the ninth inning. J. Pierre Sebia behind the plate after pinch hitting in the top of the inning. Don't forget, he was hit on the throwing hand by that pitch. See if that becomes a factor. Darren Oliver will stay on. We'll open the ninth inning with Jose Lobaton leading off. He's in the spot vacated by Molina. And the pitch is a strike on the outside part of the plate. Escobar next, and then Jennings due up. Big cut and a foul right back into the mid of Sebia.
Visions of ending this ball game for Jose Lobaton.
Yes, visions of ice cream for everyone.
Or plantains.
Yeah, maybe a plantain. Yeah. Well, that might have some special qualities there. He hit 100
a couple of
twice
times
in that same at bat to Cabrera. Lobaton fouls it back. Ball, 2 strikes. Oh, strike 3 call. So Lobaton caught looking.
Now moving the ball around. A little cut fastball here by Darren Oliver. Boom, right there.
Escobar.
Hey, one more. Why not?
Well, he hit one out to center in the 7th off Delabar. Now he's got the lefty here.
Well, he torched that ball.
Ball, no strikes. Escobar 2 of 4 lifetime against Oliver. Went 3-1 in the 7th inning and connected, driving it out to center. And now a strike called. It's 2-1, and Escobar putting up a squawk with Tim Welke.
Well, this one right at the bottom of the zone or below it. And that was a fringe pitch.
It's wide. 3 balls and a strike. Again, the count to Escobar. Tie, each team with 8 hits. And he's under this one, sends it into center. And Rasmus makes the catch.
All the experience, 42 years old. That right there is why Darren Oliver just continues to be effective coming out of the bullpen. 3-1 count. He saw what he did off Delabar. He knows that he wants to swing the bat. He's aggressive by nature, so he throws him the cutter. And he starts at middle of the plate and breaks it to the inside corner. And that takes all the sting out of this big swing by Escobar. That ball just cuts right to the label. That is beautiful pitching in a bad count.
First pitch down and in. He starts Jennings with a curveball, and that's a ball. 20th year. 22 years old, Darren Oliver. He's 1-1 now in the count here with Desmond Jennings. That fastball, if he hits 88, that's about tops. He was 87 on the last one with Jennings. Desmond, good cut, missed the breaker.
Now, for the most part, he locates it well. Down and away. When he has missed, he's missed to the extremes. He's missed off the plate away. He hasn't missed out over, and that's as a hitter. That's what you're looking for. That one mistake, when you get it, you got to cash in. See
2
all
balls, 2 strikes.
All those misses. They're off. And he'll throw that pitch out there, get you looking at it. And he could come with the cutter in right now. He could backdoor the cutter. This is one of those situations where that backdoor cutter, you can catch Desmond frozen.
And that's exactly what he does. Started it wide, cut it over, strike 3 call. 1, 2, 3 here in the bottom of the 9th. Hill tonight against R.A. Dickey in a match of Cy Young Award winners. Bryce worked 8 innings, gave up 4 runs, 2 earned. Dickey 6 innings, 3 runs and 2 earned. Evan Longoria's first inning doubled opened the scoring. He scored when Matt Joyce singled him home. Blue Jays scored a run in the 2nd inning when Brett Laurie chased home Edwin Encarnacion. They got 2 more in the 3rd on a double by Bautista and a single from Encarnacion. Rays were down by a run in the 7th, and Escobar hit a 3-1 pitch out to center field to tie the game. And we go to the 10th inning now, tied 4-4 with Kyle Farnsworth coming out of the bullpen. Pitcher number 3 for the Rays. Bryce worked 8. Rodney worked 1, and now Kyle Farnsworth. Cesar Ramos up in the bullpen for the Rays as well. First pitch, Bautista hits it on the ground to Escobar. And boy, that's nice to get him out on 1 pitch. 10th inning underway, 1 out, nobody on. Boy, the bottom of the 9th inning, and actually in the 8th, the Rays had a man thrown out at the plate, but Darren Oliver really did a great job in the bottom of the 9th for the Toronto Blue Jays.
Well, he really did. And the last 2 hitters, especially. 3-1 count. He was in a horrible spot, Yunel Escobar, but knowing how aggressive he was, it gives him a cutter middle in, takes the sting out of the bat, gets a lazy fly ball to center field for out number 2. And then Desmond Jennings, you talk about a textbook example on how you set up a backdoor cutter. Oh, look at that.
Encarnacion takes a strike from Farnsworth. Farnsworth worked a 3rd of an inning here Tuesday night and was in Monday's game for a 3rd of an inning as well. Pitch down. 1-1. Encarnacion scored a run in the second when he was hit by a pitch. You see his numbers against Farnsworth. 3 for 6. He drove in the run with the base hit in the third. Pitch away. Another outside. 2-1. Kawasaki there on deck. And strike 2. Fastball evens the count. And now it's a full count, 3-2. Jansen, the right-hander, he's their closer. Luke, the lefty. Bullpen full down there. Three, 2, and it's popped up. Escobar making the call. 2 outs.
Hey, how about the job Kyle Farnsworth? You got the 2 big boppers right in the middle of the lineup. Ground ball off the end of the bat, and then a little reach pop up by Encarnacion.
And now Munenori Kawasaki will bat for the first time. He's hitting in the spot originally occupied by Mark DeRosa.
Stay on the glove, Kyle. Stay on the glove. Pay no mind to what's going on in the batter's box.
Because you're never quite sure what movement's going to be going on there. A couple of deep ends. Here we go.
Yoga.
Switch is down. Ball, no strikes. Yeah, he's a treat to watch. There's no question about that.
I mean, pre-game, during the game.
And he puts down a bunt. Farnsworth bare hands and throws. Got it. Loney managed to stretch and keep his foot on the bag just long enough to get Kawasaki on the bunt attempt. Nice play. Look at Farnsworth bare hand that one. We're going to go to the bottom of the 10th, tied 4-4. By Jack Link's Beef Jerky all season long. Jack Link's Beef Jerky. Feed your wild side. Well, we're going to see a new pitcher, Aaron Luke, the left-hander, but how about the veteran lefty in the 9th inning?
Well, that pitch right there was on purpose in a 1-2 count to give Jennings and look at it. Then throw the cutter right off of it. That is textbook on how you set up a backdoor cutter. You've got the count in your favor. You've got a couple of pitches to play with. So you fire that pitch off the plate on purpose. If he wants to go after it, great. But if not, you give him a look at it. You start the cutter in the same spot. He's going to give up on it.
That's exactly what happened. Now Luke takes over for Oliver. Drops down and a swing and a foul ball by Johnson puts Kelly down on the count 0-2.
The spin on a cutter, it's so subtle when you throw a good tight one that they think they're seeing the same pitch they just saw. And they're like, oh yeah, ball 3. And oops, by the time they realize it's cut, it's too late.
Chopper headed towards second, charged by Stewart, and his throw to first in time. Dickey works 6, Delabar 1+, and Oliver for 2. Now Luke. Ben Zobrist. Luke worked 2 1/3 in the game Tuesday. Gave up 1 hit. That was it. Picked up a strikeout. Zobrist swings and hits a fly ball into right or left center. That ball catchable, and it's Rasmus with Davis headed in his direction. Rasmus made the catch. Two outs in the 10th. Evan Longoria will bat. Pete Walker, the pitching coach, trots to the mound to have a chat with Luke. They have Lincoln, the right-hander, Brad Lincoln, throwing in the bullpen down the left field side. San Diego Padres coming in over the weekend, interleague play. Alex Cobb will open that series for the Rays.
Real good pitching matchup. Game 1 right out of the gate. Friday night special. As opposed to the Saturday night special.
We got a little music going Saturday night. 1-0 the count to Evan.
We got a flower pot on Sunday.
Got it all this weekend. Longoria 1 for 2 with a couple walks against Luke. That hits a home run, by the way. So that was enough to have Pete Walker come out and have a conversation with Luke. James Loney on deck. And a fly ball back into deep right center field. That's got some carry. One hop the wall. Evans on his way to second with a stand-up double. So Longoria gives the Rays some 2-out hope here in this tie game in the 10th. Evans' 3rd hit of the night.
Now falling behind in the count. You're going to come near. Evans going to put a good swing out. He's getting a good look at this pitch. Even though it's a wide angle, he goes right out after it and just crushes that ball into right center field. Look at him lean out over the plate so that he can hit that ball flush. And he gives his team a chance now. They're going to walk Loney.
So James Loney will get the intentional pass. Roberts on deck and the right-hander Lincoln in the bullpen. So they're not going to mess with Loney, who came into the game hitting .385 and swinging the bat extremely well against left-handed pitching. This will send him down to first, which was open anyway. Loney heads to first. And now Gibbons comes out of the dugout with Lincoln ready in the bullpen, and he's going to go that way. So 2/3 of an inning for Luke. He gives up a hit, the intentional walk, and we have a Metro PCS call to the bullpen. Just from in auto stop, the foolproof way to get rid of gray. Moves being made here with Brad Lincoln on to face the right-handed bat of Ryan Roberts. Roberts 2 for 4 with a couple runs batted in against Lincoln. Lincoln came on to pitch in the game Tuesday. Half was struck by that line drive and gave up a base hit to Roberts, the first man he faced, and that drove in a run. So it's Roberts and Lincoln here in the 10th with Longoria at second. Loney's been walked. He's at first. And a breaking ball. Misses. 1 ball, no strikes. Evan was at second base in the 8th inning. And Luke Scott singled a right, and they threw Longoria out at the plate. One-0 pitch, and that's a fastball outside. 2 balls, no strikes. Scott on deck. Two-0. 3-0.
Oops. You don't want to lay one in here to Ryan Roberts. And you've got the left-handed, lurking. Got himself in a spot here.
3 balls, no strikes. Roberts takes a strike.
He won't take it again. He will not take it again. That won't get hammered. He must have been told to take that.
3-1. And ball 4. The bases are going to be loaded. Roberts will go to first, Loney to second, and Longoria to third. And it will be Luke Scott who singled into right field in the 8th inning. With Longoria at second, only to see Evan caught at the plate. Now another opportunity for Scott to drive in Longoria.
Yeah, a great chance here for Luke Scott. Be patient. He's got nowhere to put you. He's got to come in the zone. This all started with 2 outs and Evan Longoria shooting one to right center field.
Luke was walked and singled tonight, officially 1 for 3. First pitch is a fastball strike. Rays batting in the bottom of the 10th. They have only one extra inning win this year. They're 1-2.
Just a base hit. That's all we need.
And a cut and a miss. Goes down 2 strikes.
Well, you get 3. We just pulled off this a little bit. Ball running away from him up in the zone.
He's looking for one of those right now. 4 career walk-offs. Jays have the shortstop Kawasaki up the middle. A step or 2 to the shortstop side of the bag. The 0-2, and he fouls it off his foot. That starts Scott DeMarchi walking it off. Rays with 9 hits. Blue Jays with 8. This game has been tied since the 7th inning when Yunel Escobar hit a home run to dead center. The 0-2 on its way again. Down.
And you better have faith in your catcher, too, because you're trying to get Luke Scott to chase. That ball very close to the dirt. One bad kick. We've seen that all series long, though. Aaron Sebia does a great job of smothering pitches, blocking balls, very active behind the plate.
A ball, 2 strikes. And close. Ran the fastball in. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Got ahead 0-2. Lincoln did. Missed with a breaking ball, missed with a fastball. Here we go. 2-2. And down and in. Aaron Sebia on that fastball down and in, picked it.
Oh, he had to. That had some velo on it, and it was down and in. He gets a backhand, and for the time being, saves the game for the Blue Jays. Well, look at this, just yanks this ball. Look how far he's got to go in not a whole lot of time. Boy, nice job.
So now the count is full. It was 0-2. Three balls, 2 strikes. Started with 2 outs. Here it is. And ball 4. This game is over. Luke Scott draws a bases loaded walk, forcing home Evan Longoria, and the Rays win it 5-4. Boy, Scott was down 0-2 and works Lincoln for the walk. And the Rays will gain a split in this series. They win this one in 10 innings, 5-4. The Rays in extra innings this year 2-2, and they finish this 4-game series 2 up and 2 down against the Toronto Blue Jays. And all of that began with 2 outs. Longoria, who was thrown out trying to score the go-ahead run in the 8th, is walked home from third base after a 2-out double by Longoria. The Rays load the bases, and Luke Scott draws the bases loaded walk to end it. As we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite. And there's the pitch low, a fastball down. And the Rays come away with a 5-4 10-inning victory here tonight at Tropicana Field. Todd Callis standing by with Luke Scott right now.
Dwayne, thanks. Luke, you guys almost won it earlier in your at-bat. You had a base hit against a tough lefty and a great throw from right field. Take us through that final at-bat. You're down 0-2. It's not easy to draw a walk out of that situation.
No, it's not. Brad Lincoln's got 3 quality pitches. He's got a plus fastball. He's got a great curveball, great changeup. We've kind of finessed a little bit in the past in our previous at bats, but he got me down 0-2. Some good fastballs, and then I just tried to battle and said, let's just put the ball in play. Let's get a pitch to hit, and just try to have a good at bat.
Is that something when you're seeing the ball well, when you're comfortable at the plate, you have that calmness that allows you to take some close pitches in that situation?
Yeah, in one sense, yeah, but I think what I'm really trying to do is I'm not trying to do too much, and trying to get to where 2 strikes, just go out there and battle, put pressure on the defense, put the ball in play on a strike, and be a good at bat. Try and go out there and battle and see where it happens.
What did you see in the previous at bat? You knew you hit it pretty well to right field, so the ball got to Batista pretty quickly there.
Yeah, I kind of hit a curveball that stayed up in the zone, got the head out, was able to hit a good hard ground ball in the right field, but Jose Bautista is a tremendous outfielder, tremendous player. He's got a really good arm, also a quick release. He cut the gap down, made this short throw, but Blanco made a good pick as well, and it was just a good play on their part.
We talked to you on the road trip. You went from where you didn't feel so good the first game in Kansas City, and then all of a sudden it kicked in the second game. Then you don't play much in Colorado with the DH out of the equation. Are you pleased with how quickly things have come back to you in kind of a limited spring training and limited at-bats?
Yeah, I am pleased with it. I'm still not locked in completely. I mean, I've had some days where I've had good at-bats. I felt good at the plate, and other days where I kind of feel off. Just kind of been like chasing my tail, every other day. But, I'm pleased with having good at-bats, getting deep into counts, and not trying to do too much, taking some pitches, and trying to get a mistake to hit.
Final thing, Luke, always difficult going from a knuckleballer to a guy that throws a little harder. That's a tough transition in game, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. Dickey's ball moves all over the place. It's I don't know. It's, as Yogi Berra, I guess, said, it's like trying to eat soup with a fork. It gets frustrating, but but then the change of seeing mid-90s velocity, the ball gets on you pretty quick, and like I said, it's you got to really bear down and battle. So I mean, we did a great job as a team. We just kept clawing back. Toronto did a good job, kept the pressure on. Our guys on the mound stepped up. They did a good job, and it was just an overall team effort. We did a great job today.
Nice job, Luke. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right, guys, back to you.
All right, Todd. Thank you. Rays winners 5-4 in 10. We'll be back in just a moment.